me now is David Pierce, the author of the Bewitched history book, which is, what a wonderful book, and it has a long title with it too.
Yeah.
Can you read the title for us?
Yes, it's the omnidirectional, three-dimensional vectoring paper-printed omnibus for Bewitched analysis, aka the Bewitched history book.
And it truly is an omnibus. I mean, oh my God, it's an encyclopedia. The first time I saw it, I initially thought it was going to be like maybe 200 pages. I was expecting something.
It's a normal book.
Normal book, because I've been reading your posts on Harvey's Bazaar website, and you know everybody reads them, I think, and everybody's impressed with your writing, and I think what happened is somebody approached you and said, "Why don't you put them together in a book?" Right?
Yeah, there were several. Like specifically, I remember like Susan Hauser that goes by Marine on the board, and she said that she wanted them to be in a book, and several people agreed with her over the years, and I never thought I would do it because I didn't know how to publish a book. So you had to have an agent and contracts and all this, and I didn't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And so the reason I pursued it was because I'm a big fan of Paula Abdul, former judge on American Idol and Pop Princess, and she challenged all of her fans to take a goal that we had set that we thought was unattainable and work it till you just couldn't work it anymore.
Amazing.
And so I decided to do that, and I had read Charles Tranberg's awesome biography about Agnes Moorehead from Bear Manor Media.
It really is awesome. I read it too.
Very good. And then also when I met Ron Masak at the Bewitched Fanfare in 2010, his book had come out from Bear Manor. So I decided, well, it would be a good fit, so I'll ask them, and so I submitted the first chapter, which is the first season, to them. And they said, yeah, let's do this.
So the book is about what? If people ask you exactly to summarize the concept of the book, how?
It's my telling of each episode in my own words, and it also is my own review of each episode because I've watched them countless times. And I also incorporate any trivia and from the show and any trivia from what was going on in the world at the time, because Bewitched started filming or went into production the day that Kennedy was shot, and there was many other things that happened, like Bobby Kennedy was killed, Martin Luther King was, the race riots, the Vietnam War, just countless.
We found out yesterday, of course.
Oh yeah, the landing on the moon, yeah. Tons of things. So I think a lot of the stuff that was happening was bad. And so Bewitched offered a place where everybody could escape, because you got the beautiful Samantha and Darren having a great office job that every American male wanted, and he had a beautiful wife, and even more so, she could do magic. She didn't have to lift a finger. She could just twitch a nose and get her house cleaned.
And did you find any tricks about twitching the nose? How did I mean, I know I've seen a video of you twitching your nose, and you actually do twitch it. So, like, even better than Samantha, if I may say so.
Yeah, I got tricked into that when we were at the House of Seven Gables in 2006.
Yeah.
I think the way that I figured out how to do it is you imagine yourself swishing water in your mouth, and so I'll try to do it now. This is terrible, but.
Wow, that's amazing. You really have that ability to twitch. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the book doesn't go beyond the year 1972, basically. Or you cover from the production date, which is 1963, I would imagine, to the airing of Bewitched, 1964, and then into 1972, right?
Right.
It doesn't go beyond
the
that.
preface starts in the early 60s and kind of talks about what was on television at the time, and just sets up what was going on. Like Mary Poppins was released that summer of '64, and Agnes Moorehead and her son Sean were there at the premiere. And I think Disney figures a lot into Bewitched, because Liz wanted to be an animator for Disney, and there's a lot of magic in Disney and a lot of magic in Bewitched. So I included Mary Poppins in there, and I reference it quite a lot in the rest of the book, because Bewitched, like Mary Poppins, is practically perfect in every way.
And this book was published by Bear Manor. Tell me how you approached Bear Manor.
I gathered all the information I had from the first season, and I submitted it to them, and I said, I think that this would be a great part of your catalog because it fits into the classic television realm, and Bewitched is really, it remains popular all the time, and so they submitted it, they had an unknown Bewitched fan read it. And they really liked it, and they said that they would cut it down a lot And so I asked everybody on harpiesbazaar.com that were originally reading it, what would you cut out of this, if anything? And everybody said, oh, you should add more. And so I did. And so it originally ended up being over 1,000 pages, and I had to whittle 300 pages off of it.
That's
so,
the other book you could.
Yeah, I could do like the extensive.
Yeah. So you like Paula Abdul? You could write a book about Paula Abdul.
I wish I could write a book about her.
Have you met her in person?
Yeah, I met Paula November 7th, 2004.
That's great.
Yeah, and I sent her a copy of the book. Her cousin Tara owns a shop called Tweak 99, which is kind of a quirky gifts kind of shop in Los Angeles. And so I knew her on Twitter, and I told her about the book and how Paula had inspired it, and she got me an address to send it to her. And Paula's 50th birthday was just this year, so I sent it to her as a birthday gift. Mm-hmm. And then kind of every so often would ask her, did you get the book? Did you get the book? And she has over 2 million fans on Twitter, so it's really rare. But she follows me on Twitter, which means that she can private message.
Oh, I remember you post on Facebook. Paula Abdul's on Twitter. I was like,
yes.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, she sent me a message, says, I got the book and I'm so proud of you and I'm so sorry it took so long.
Oh, how wonderful that is. Yeah, that's great.
And Erin Murphy, that played Tabitha on Bewitched, I sent it to her for her birthday, which was in June. And I also sent it to Bernard Fox, Dr. Bombay. I sent it to him for his birthday in May. And I have yet to get a picture of any of those 3 celebrities with my book. No. Oh. So if they ever see this, I want it.
Yeah, was it through their agent?
No, it was through them. I know Bernard's daughter.
Yeah.
And so I sent it to
That's
his house.
Amanda Fox?
Amanda Fox, yeah. And then I follow Erin on Twitter, and I asked her if I could send it to her, and she followed me for a minute and gave me your address, and
she left.
Then she unfollowed me, which is okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's cool knowing, and the book's gone all over the world, not just the celebrities. There's all the people in Oz, tons of fans in Australia. So I spent much money sending it to them.
Awesome book. I mean, I wanted to buy a copy immediately when it came out from you, and I knew you ran out of copies.
Yeah.
And when I got my copy, I couldn't wait to read it, and I got busy with work, so I started reading it at night, chapter by chapter. I started going through pages, little bit here. And I'm still not even here yet. I'm still page 170 or something like that. But I will get to finish it. It truly is a great book.
Thank you.
It really is well written. Thanks. And it's published by Bear Manor, folks, and you can get it on Amazon.com and BearManor.com.
Yeah, BearManorMedia.com or even BarnesandNoble.com.
Great. Well, David Pierce, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Peter.
Appreciate it. Good night. You ready?
If you want to feel my embrace, don't you ever wash your face. If you really care for me, don't you comb your hair for me. If you want to leave me weak and weepy, you gotta look wild and weird and creepy. Yeah.
You're gonna want to sing it again, you don't have to. No.
All right.
That's it? Okay.
All right.
So, did you want to sing anything, or
I didn't have a performance plan.
you
No,
just want
I
to
mean,
walk the runway?
sure.
I'm gonna get the Serena music.
Work it,
going.
girl, work it.
Theme's got to be on there.
No, I don't have a song planned,
Right, that's all right.
but I'm
You
dressed up
do
as
the
Serena
Serena slink, all
from
right?
Hippie Hippie Hooray.
It's all about the glass. It's all about the glass.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Oh, I thought I was
You gotta
done.
wait. No, you
Thought I
gotta
was
wait.
done.
No. You are wrong. You gotta wait for the
Gotta
music.
wait, okay.
You gotta do the Serena slink, all right?
Wait a second.
Did you get any pictures? Very
I
happy.
think this was the right.
I mean, I'm just gonna say
Well, she's just like,
Looking you until the music is done.
okay. You
Studio with Pierce Sears and Phil Hopkins. Pierce Sears is a retired person from what town?
Rockport, Mass.
Rockport, Mass. And Phil Hopkins, you're from where?
I'm from Rockport as well.
Also Rockport, two Rockport guys, great, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So Pierce Sears, the significance of you being here on the show is that you had a treasure trove of videos, and one of them showed Liz Montgomery, Dick Sargent on Stacy Boulevard in
Yes,
1970.
That's right.
Can you tell the story how this happened?
I heard they were in Gloucester filming, and fortunately one day I was driving by Stacy Boulevard, and they were at the statue filming. So I stopped, luckily got a place to park, and I observed them for 15, 20 minutes, but I did end up getting about 2 minutes of film of the characters and what they were filming and going through, and it was very interesting.
And she was dressed up at the time as Serena in this kind of outfit?
She
the
was
one
just
behind
like
you?
this
Yeah.
Serena,
Green outfit.
that
Yeah.
impersonation, and Dick Sargent was there, David White, and the fellow that played the
Fisherman
fisherman.
statue.
Yes, yes.
Gary Richards, his name. Green outfit.
So can you maybe do a little dance for us?
Well, I can do a little dance for you guys. Well, I can start with Phil. Yeah. Well, you know, about 2 years ago, somebody contacted me from Cape Ann Cinema, and they wanted to show the Bewitched episodes that were filmed in Salem and Gloucester. And I said, sure, we can show it at the Cape Ann Cinema. So I went over to meet with him, and we organized all the logistics at the time. Came back home. About a day later, I get an email from him, and he says to me, there is a film I have of Liz Montgomery, Dick Sargent, David White, Bill Asher, by the fisherman statue. And I said, what film is that? He said, it's like a minute film that somebody shot back in 1967. I said, 67? That doesn't make sense. He said, that's what I was told. But it turned to be 1970, and the film was shot by a guy by the name of Pierce Sears. And Pierce is sitting here with us. Pierce happened to hear about the Bewitched cast coming to Gloucester, and he was an avid videographer. And he took his camera with him, he went over to Stacy Boulevard, and there on Stacy Boulevard, this lavish production of Bewitched, of Daddy on a Pedestal. And he is by the full space, and his camera is rolling, and there's Serena walks in front of him, and there's Gary Richard walking in front of him, and there's Dick Sargent, and there's Bill Asher, and there's David White, and there's Rolf Miller, who is the artist who used the makeup for the cast. Almost everybody you could think of, he managed to capture in that 1 minute video. And it is fantastic. You see it today, and you say to yourself, my God, is there anything else like it out there that we are missing? And so far, this is the only film footage in the past 8 years I've been researching the Salem saga episodes that have come, you know, no, you can. This is Gary Richard, back when he was a 19-year-old Salem State College freshman.
Show that profile, Gary.
Strike your pose on top of the.
Which pose?
As a matter of fact, I think the facial features haven't changed much, just a bit on the
Like
top.
this?
We got
Yay!
I should talk, right? Okay,
Pierce,
got it.
I'll
Great.
run. It's 1 hour and what? It's 1 hour.
So we got this, guys.
Between 1 hour and 16 and 1 hour and 18 minutes.
Okay.
So 76 minutes.
Alright.
Okay, so we got it to work.
All right, yeah, so we'll start
Okay.
with this then.
Okay.
Yeah,
So now everybody's attention,
Alright.
please.
Okay, so you have it.
I will cue it up, but you
Okay.
can start.
All right, so
Which
we'll go,
you want
we'll go back to.
when are you doing it first?
We'll just do this first. Since
We'll go back to.
finally have
Yes.
the option to
Yeah,
play
yes,
it.
absolutely.
So we'll
Let's
do
go for
we'll
it.
do that
Can we shut the
first, and
Can we shut the light off?
no, give me a second, okay? Just
Yeah.
flip.
So
Interview in a second.
Okay, so Pierce Sears, of course, was there, and he filmed the cast on Stacy Boulevard. And then the film sort of sat in his house for years and years and years. Eventually, he had so much footage of Cape Ann, he decided that this footage should be transformed from an 8mm format into a DVD format or a digital format. And somehow, now you can step in and tell me how you met the film archivist, Phil Hopkins, who took care of your 8mm films.
Well, I met what was I know at the time, a friend of Phil's, 10, 11 years ago. And after a year or so, he became aware that I had quite a library of film. He said, I know someone that can help you with these. And he introduced me to Phil, so I've known him about 9 or 10 years. And for the first year or two, we met once a week, for a year anyway, watching these films, watching maybe a 400-foot reel a night, a reel or two. And we did that for about a year, and then he got his thoughts together, and he finally put them into DVD form, and we've been showing films locally, especially local functions of Rockport. And
of course, Phil, you recognize the importance of the Montgomery film immediately once you saw it, right?
Well, it's incredible because I grew up in Danvers, and of course, you know, as kids, this was the coveted episode to watch, the Salem episode and the Gloucester episode. So when Pierce and I actually heard about your event that was in Gloucester, and we knew with the footage that Pierce had, but we didn't really know the context of how we would ever show it. I mean, it was within fans of Bewitched, obviously, but as far as, you know, what we were doing at the time, which was showing local footage at different community events. So we heard about Peter's event in Gloucester, and I said, you couldn't have staged that any better. So I called the director of the theater and said, I know a gentleman who actually has some home movies of the Stacy Boulevard episode. He said, well, you should meet him and we'll screen them that afternoon. And of course, that's what led to being here tonight. So it's exciting that everyone is here because this is one of those things you find and then you say, well, you know, people will care about it. But obviously, you know, an event like tonight where, you know, people really will appreciate the fact that Pierce had his camera. It wasn't a video camera, it was an 8mm film camera that, you know, if you did this today, everyone would have this on YouTube. If they were filming in Gloucester in a big event like that, there'd be 500 different clips of it up on YouTube. But back in 1970, that proposition didn't exist. I mean, you had to really be lucky. Unfortunately for everyone here tonight, you know, Pierce had the camera in his car.
And there is no sound there, so when you see it, there is absolutely no sound. And but you do see Serena wearing the lime green suit, and you do see Gary Richard with hair.
Nice, Peter.
I should talk, right?
Yeah, you of all people.
I know. And so it's a really interesting film to watch. So I'm sure Mark is.
I got it, but
by
we gotta
now,
wait for the projector to come get ready.
So
here.
we'll turn the lights out.
Yeah,
and
you
just
want to
start playing it.
that's David White in the bezel. Dick Sargent, you could see face. Aha.
Robert Brown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's Rolf Miller right there. Makeup artist.
Justine?
Pulling that wig
Bill
down.
Asher, right there. You can see a little bit.
Where's my hair? hairdryer.
Yeah, I told the story, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Oh,
met
you
him
mean Robert Brown?
Yes, I met him
Okay.
in Gloucester at the
Yeah.
he was surprised to see himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. So that video basically had been tucked away in your archives for
Oh
years.
yes, because I have quite a few films
Yeah.
of all kinds of
Yeah.
situations and
Yeah.
of course being a fan of the show, I was so happy to have this.
Mm-hmm. But all your films
Yes.
that you had, eventually you had to give them to someone. And then
Yes.
tell me the story how you ended up meeting with Phil
Well,
Hopkins, who was a
through,
film archivist.
Through a mutual friend,
Mhm.
I met Phil Hopkins because this friend knew of my film collection, and he said, I know just the fellow who can help you with that,
Mhm.
and he did.
Mhm.
We met once a week for about a year. I've got about 4,800-foot reels, and we looked at them all, and Phil was, setting them up in his mind what he wanted to do with them. And he eventually, we put them on about 10 DVDs.
Yeah. Yeah, and Phil actually was the one who discovered the footage of the Bewitched. Did you discover the footage of
Well, I
the
didn't
Bewitched?
discover it. It was
Pierce there.
Pierce knew that it was there.
Oh,
Yeah.
he knew it. Okay, that's
But
what I meant to
obviously,
ask. Yeah.
when
Like,
the purpose of what we were doing, we were trying to inventory the archive. So we would actually, Pierce would project the 8mm film, and this way we knew when we transferred it what we actually had, and if we were able to actually have various events in town that showed local scenes that we could pull from, and we would have some sort of a catalog.
mhm.
And I couldn't believe when the footage of Elizabeth Montgomery from 1970, because this was the show that as a kid growing up, I grew up in Danvers, which was part of Old Salem Village. So of course both episodes, the Salem episode and the one from Gloucester, were such a buzz as kids. And this was before the dawn of home video with the internet. So you had to really make a point of finding out when that episode was going to air. So when I saw that, I said, this is incredible. At some point there's going to be a historic event, and we're going to have to show this footage again. And of course, when you had your screening in Gloucester a couple of years ago, I said, Pierce, you're not going to believe it. They're going to show the episode. He said, well, we should show the film. And of course, that's why we get together tonight to show Pierce's home movies again.
And I mean that movie. We're going to show it, of course, on our program, and it's such a fantastic film. I mean, the way you shot everybody, and you showed almost every character who was there, from Bill Asher to Liz Montgomery to, like you said, Robert Brown. You showed him. Even Gary Richard, who was Dick Sargent's stand-in, was there, and Dick Sargent and Rolf Miller, the artist, was there in that film. Almost, it was a montage of everybody who was on Bewitched was in that scene somehow. So we are so grateful that you actually took the time to do it in 1970.
I wish it turned out to be a little longer.
I wish it did too,
Yes.
but it was concise and beautiful to look at. Okay, so Phil, what is the? You said you're going to make that into an HD, that footage into an HD at one point.
We are. In fact, it's in the process of being converted into high definition. The great thing about film is that it's an art form that's no longer survived sort of the technology, because the limitations and the costs of developing film and processing film and everything now with digital is you can go into an electronics shop and buy a $500 high quality digital camera. So we're trying to pick and choose the episodes and obviously the footage out of Pierce's archive to save in high definition, and obviously that's an incredible vignette, and historically that's probably one of the most important pieces. He has thousands and thousands of feet in his archive, but I would say that's in the top 10%, wouldn't you, Pierce?
Yes, it certainly is.
Yeah, I think it's well worthy to do it, and because I don't think we have anything like this has ever been turned in. Film footage, 8mm film footage of the Gloucester filming of Bewitched. I have never seen them, and when I first got the email that Pierce Sears has that footage. Believe me, I jumped up and down. I mean, I couldn't believe that somebody actually kept that. And,
Well, the difference is
and
today.
contacted me. And it was actually Robert Newton who told me about this at the time.
It was,
That's the
but if
contacting
this
me.
were to happen today, there'd be 101 people with their iPhone filming it, and that would be,
You know.
you would assume that I can type into a Google search and find every major event going ahead at this point in time. 40 years ago, that was not really an option because of the limitations with, film, and if you had a camera, and obviously the fact that Pierce happened to know about it and had the camera in his car. I mean,
Yeah.
thank God for that.
Yeah. So what else did you film? Anybody else famous you filmed that we don't know about?
Well, when I was out in California during the 60s, I was at the beginning of Universal Studios had that there, and I got some famous people out there.
Did you really?
McHale's Navy was there one day, and different people I can't recall.
Different sitcoms,
Yes.
actors and actresses.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Do you have those also in your possession? That
We
you're
do. He
planning to
has
do
footage
something?
of Ted Williams at Fenway Park. That's
Oh
incredible
yes, I
footage.
have some good
Oh, my
footage
God.
at Fenway Park. The burning of the Jimmy Fund mortgage and different events like that.
Has the footage of Ted Williams? I'm sorry, I know it's a little bit off topic here, but Ted Williams footage has been shown already or no?
No, I don't think we've screened that.
It hasn't been screened.
No, certainly.
I would
there was a
imagine
call for
that
this.
should be on the top also,
Well,
along with
we
Serena.
have shown films locally,
Yeah.
in 15, 20, 25-minute segments of different venues, mostly of Cape Ann and Rockport, Gloucester.
That's great. Yeah.
Yes.
Cape Ann is a beautiful town, I'm sure.
Yes, it certainly is.
A lot of it has changed, a lot of it hasn't changed.
Oh, yes, very picturesque.
Picturesque, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's so wonderful to have you guys on my show. I really appreciate your
Well, thank you
contribution
for-
to
Thank you for.
to this
asking.
Serena-thon 2012.
And of
Really
course,
appreciate
I
you
was such a
being
fan
here.
for the show. I was so happy to even get what little footage I had of that.
Oh, I'm so happy.
And to meet, not meet her, but see her.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much again for being on the show,
well, thank
Pierce.
you very
Okay,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Phil. Okay.
Because Serena takes, as you know, the statue, brings him to life, takes Darren, puts him up there. Now, needless to say, we were taller than Robert Brown, but they didn't use him at all for really the body shots. It was really, there's the two of them, the face, but every side shot. When we freeze some of those frames, clearly see that it's me in distance shots.